Live now? Go ahead.
Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. Happy New Year again. This is our second um, episode in 2026. We're grateful that we've come this far. We had a wonderful journey over the last 3 years of stopping the violence here in America, which we've always said that if we can curb violence in America, which seems to be a prototype or a nation that others follow, then we will have played a critical role in helping the global community or giving or getting different answers and different types of ways in which the violence can be curbed. This has been a wonderful journey. Initially started off with dealing with um, gun violence. The founder, which was what we affectionately call Mother Moon or Mother Han, uh, who just said, we have to deal with you have to deal with gun violence in America. So originally we started off with gun violence, but then we realized the more effective way to deal with gun violence is begin to look at what are the root causes, because the fact that the gun is an inanimate object, it takes an individual to pick it up and shoot someone, murder someone, or harm his fellow man. So what is the motivating factors? What are the traumatic factors? What if all sorts of factors or root causes that causes someone to pick up a gun or commit violent acts, whether in all sorts of violence, domestic violence, all sorts of violence that are out there. And so we have had incredible people on, and I know we have another incredible guest that will give us some more insights. We've had religious leaders, uh, um, faith-based leaders outside of Christianity, and also we've had police chiefs and mayors and social leaders and all sorts of other people who are working in the vineyard, if you will, on their own and in their own prospective areas, and have been. The incredible thing is they have done some incredible things in their community that the global or even the national communities do not know about. So uh, this program has been a blessing because we've been able to galvanize all of those what I call silos or individuals on their own who are doing things over here we don't know about. We bring them on our platform, then the community and the nation begins to see, and then how we can galvanize them together to make a national impact because they come with an answer. It might not be the total answer, but we have learned as part of the answer. So we have a wonderful guest today, and I'd just like to give a shout out to her and let the audience know that God wants her on here because she's just come from an accident last night, which her car was totally totaled. And look at her; she looks wonderful. Wait till when I introduced her. So God's hand, Christ's hand, was over her, and that's why she's here today to be with us and to share with us. Originally, she canceled, but then she said, no. She called me back, Oliver. I'm going to fight this thing. I'm supposed to be here. And I'm going to not let the enemy,
Amen.
Satan, stop me. Amen. So let me just give you today we don't have as many people today because of the new year, but we are live, and we have a live audience that is watching, are always watching as well. So let me introduce our special guest, Overseer Dr. Ann Elizabeth Cole II, founder of, I love this name, Put Your Guns Down and Life Your Hands Up movement, and Life Your Hands Up movement, which is, I guess, foundation of it is in Bronx, New York. Overseer Ann is the founder of Put Your Guns Down and Life Your Hands Up movement, whose mission is to see families, communities strengthened to become self-sufficient through KLOCs, community outreach programs such as literacy training, drug and alcohol abuse, awareness groups, health and wellness programs, reentry, which is very important, recidivism, reentry support groups, domestic violence support groups, voices in the valley, men and women, and spiritual awareness, which is really always a foundation to make all of these programs work sufficiently and more intricately. Dr. Coles, God bless you. Welcome to our platform, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, giving honor to Reverend Oliver, who invited me, and I cannot leave out my mentor, Sister Dugan. It's been a pleasure working with everyone. Um, I am a Washingtonian. I've been here all my life, so I have seen the turnaround in everything, and I'm a survivor of gun violence myself. Um, and I'm 33 years of clean time when it comes to drugs, and my drug of choice was cocaine. I smoked it. I didn't like how I felt when I snorted. But during that time, I had people saying, "You don't belong here. You shouldn't be here. This not you." And I did me. And my mentors just kept talking to me, and I could feel the call on me. And you know how sometimes they say you run away from your call, because I wanted to be part of the crowd. I wanted to be with my family, who a lot of them were involved in that type of activity. Um, and then it was just God dropped it in my spirit. You need to do something to help your community. And I first started out in Paradise and Mayfair. Every year, I did a community event, and brought in all types of music and fed the community. And the drug dealers respected me so much that they were my security during the concert. And some of them would come and talk to me, and some of them stopped. Then I wasn't a preacher, and someone would stop. Well, how can I get out of this? And I said, you can get out of it. You didn't get it in overnight. You're not gonna get out of it overnight. But if you really want to get out of it, I'm gonna send you here so you could get the help you need. And I birthed Put Your Guns Down in the Street, because it was just in the church. I took it in the street in 2018, is when I took it to the street and saw the effect it had over there. Over in Lincoln Heights is a rough area here in DC. Langston is a rough area in DC. Um, and it's a rough area in some sedity neighborhoods. You just don't see it. But from that, lives were changed. Um, and by then I had been ordained and everything. And they're like, you're not like the other preachers. You sit here and you talk to us. You come out here. You give us food. You don't talk down to us or anything. And I'm like, no, I'm no better than anybody else. I have my imperfections. Some of the walk that y'all are doing, I have done it. And over the years, what I have discovered, you have to go back to the beginning. What caused you to go this way? Some of them, to be honest, went that way because their parents weren't there and they were trying to feed their siblings. And in the streets, you're there to survive. So if somebody come at you, you're gonna come at them. Back in the day, if we did that, we fist for it, and in a couple of hours, we were friends. I
Right.
think some of the between your home being unstable and now our education system is just off the chain. If we want to be honest about it, when I sit and I talk with some teachers, they like their hands are tied because they can't do anything with the students. If they raise their voice at them or even, touch them to try to calm down, let's say you're in a special school, then DHS is brought in. And when it comes to the homes, the family just might need somebody to counsel them, to help them through their situation. But what happens is a lot of time they'll go to school. They might have a scratch on them or something like that. And sometimes they don't even have to have a scratch. If a teacher think a child is being abused, they can put in a report and then DHS come out. And I'm not telling you something I know. It happened to me. Um, where the government came in and took my niece and nephew from me. Um, and it wasn't my doing. It was another family doing it, and I knew nothing about it. But because it happened in my home and had to work my way through it, it almost cost me my government clearance. And that's a factor. Another factor is if your parents hurt, they're going to hurt their children with their mouth. And to them, it's normalcy to do that because that's what they were raised with. Another problem I see is our community has very little hope or respect for the church nowadays because they say the church is very judgmental. That they want to say the pastor taking the money, buying luxury cars, buying homes. There's a lot of negative talk when it comes to the church, and I try to tell them all churches aren't like that. You know, what I need to do is let's find you. First of all, what do you like? What do you don't like? What triggers you to go that way? Because to be honest, when I speak at these events, I ask everybody who has a gun. Do you carry a gun? And of course, nobody raised their hand. I said, well, I'm here to tell you, we all carry a gun. Because if you don't handle a situation the right way, treat a person the right way, get help for yourself, that can trigger. That's one gun. That's the body of the gun. And you keep going on day by day, night by night, going through stuff, you're gonna eventually get that cartridge and put it in that gun. And if it don't get any better, the way you're being treated, talked about, just you just don't feel love. You have no hope. So when you pop off, you're gonna pull that trigger and somebody's gonna get it. And I've heard that from some stories. Another thing with put your guns down and lift your hands up. When I say lift your hands up, that means let's just surrender. I need you to surrender. I'm here for you. And God has blessed me where I have about 5, 6 community partners that, and I drilled them too. I said, if I send somebody to you, are you gonna really help them, or you gonna make them fill out a lot of paperwork and say you don't have it? I don't operate like that. I'm a realistic person. If you're partnering with me, what you say you're gonna do, I need you to do it. Because in these streets, I hear them saying, as long as they got money, they'll do the programs, but some of the programs don't really help them. All the programs want is numbers, and I'm telling you from experience. A couple of organizations have called me in to work with them because of the put your guns down. And when I gave them my opinion, I said, are you going to be here for these people when this money run out? If you're not, then you can't come in here. They already hurting. You build their hope up, and then at the end there's nothing. Hear them guns going off again. The guns are going off. Some are physical guns, but some are people just going off in general. I've discovered that there are people that do need that mental health, but you were raised, you don't go to no therapist. You don't talk about your business or none of that. It just stay here and that's it. Ain't nothing gonna change, and that has hurt the community and caused the real guns to pop off too. So there's a lot in dealing in these streets, because that's what my ministry, we street. To hear the mother crying, she need help and nobody help her. Hear the fathers crying that they need help and there's nobody there to help them. It's a hurting thing. It's a hurting thing. And I'm talking about from all cultures. I get calls in, not just my culture, but a whole lot of cultures that they just need help, somebody to help them. And that's where to put your guns down. We come in. We try to help you the best way we can, but it's the music that draw them in. And I love my streets because they real. They're real. And that's put your guns down and wipe your hands up.
I want to thank you, and I want to. I think it's coming out now a little bit more in the discussion, and one of the things that you had just said, uh, the community, some low income communities, all communities, and sometimes I believe the Black American communities, but we have extenuating circumstances that sometimes needs to be dealt with specifically, and I think you had shared some of them, those areas of concern, and that influences their thinking, their behaviors, and stuff like that. One of them, even before I started this, and I wanted you to go a little bit on this, even before I began to moderate and this program, Stop the Violence, I did my own program called, I'm bad with even the name of it, but the thing of it is, the program was the mental health in the African American community. We don't deal with that. And everyone who, like yourself, who come on, we say the same thing. That's my business. You don't put your business out. We're not used to going to therapists. We're not used to doing that. That's like almost a taboo in our community. Am I correct? I hear that all the time. But now it's time to deal with it because, as you said, there needs to be some therapy. There needs to be therapy to deal with the trauma that also contributes to ill behavior and all sorts of other things that comes with that. So I wanted to see if you can address that since you've been out there in the streets and understand it a little bit more.
When you talk about behavioral health, that comes from people's trauma, but also out in the streets. I developed a relationship with MPD and with Prince George's County Police Department. They actually took me through the academy just like I was a police officer. Only thing is, I did not. I'm not licensed to carry a gun or anything like that. And the purpose was to let us see from the police standpoint. And to this day, I have some officers that come to me, talk to me about some things, and able to bring the community and the police officers together. When I grew up, we had what was called officer friendly that walked the streets. And if we got in some kind of trouble, would walk us back to our home, and tell our parents what we did. I think that's missing. I think another cause is when we were in school, we could interact with each other. Nowadays, the kids can't interact with each other. They call it getting in people's private space. Um, Another thing I see is we don't know, our younger generation don't know how to handle conflict without violence. And I think the cause of that is, and we all got these phones, I call them hella phones. If that's what I call them real. But nowadays, if you don't have these phones, you can't do anything. In our schools, the teachers have very little contact with the kids when it comes to teaching them because all their work is coming off the computer.
That's true.
And there's a lot of times the teacher don't even understand the work themselves, but their job mandate they got to use these programs. So when you get everybody's frustrated and everything, and that's that's what brings the violence out. And don't look at violence as just gun violence. Violence is somebody speak to you and you're like, "What's your problem?" All I said was hi. Um, our parents have given up because the government say you can't raise your voice at your child, you can't do da 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 da. So, and I've seen some families split up And all they did was punish the child. They didn't beat the child. They made him sit in the corner for a little bit. Kid went back to the school and told him. The school said they mandate they got to report it. That's not abuse. It was time out. So if I can't discipline my child, then what am I going to do? I'm just going to do like this, take my hands off of it. And the violence starts to really begin there in the home. In the home. Most babies nowadays, and I can speak for our culture on this one, most of our babies nowadays are coming from broken mother and father. They both broken. And one of the most precious things is when a woman becomes pregnant and carry that baby feels everything that mother feels. So some of the traumas start even before birth. Even before birth, trauma starts, and it just escalates once the child is here and get older. That's the problem right there, family. And when I say family, I'm not just talking about blood family. I'm talking about the school is family, your church is family, your neighborhood is family. And all them, that four is broken. There's the violence. Because that person hurt, so I'm gonna make you hurt. I'm gonna make you feel what I feel. But the reality is I can't feel what you feel, and we both can go through the same thing. But I can feel what you're feeling. Just like you won't be able to feel what I'm feeling. In reality, I can have empathy and listen and see where's the crack at, and then work with you. But overall, the person gotta want it. You can do everything in your power to take them this place, sit them that place, and get them all the help they need. But until they make up in their mind that they really want help, all you can do is just throw your hands up.
So can you share with us a little bit about, I know there's different categories, even categories in what you are dealing with, as you had said before, you have wellness program, health programs, alcohol and abuse programs, and other various programs. Can you give us a little indication of how you see how they have been working in the healing factor in some of these people who are coming from the backgrounds you just discussed?
One way, I guess, what gives us a leg up. One of my elders is actually a nurse and mental health provider. So when we do something, they're there. And his background is he deals with the criminally insane. What he deals with on his job on a daily basis. When we're in a community, he helps me out with this person needs this, and that. And he'll say, and I think we need to let them go to counseling. And if they don't want to go to counseling, I'm with an organization called Healthy DC and Me, where we serve as mental health advocates. So I'm able to get the information, go talk to him, go talk to that organization, and then I'll talk to a therapist and just give them an overall picture of what that person is going through, not revealing their address or anything like that. The thing is to keep people out of harm's way. That's how I'm able to help by having these. I have an elder that actually works for a nonprofit that they're in the streets over in Bellevue, down H Street corridor and everything. So they know him. So, because he used to be a drug dealer himself in those very neighborhoods that I just called. So they know and they see that his life has changed. So here they come. And music is the key. A lot of them have a lot of talent. The kids like to rap and stuff. So what we'll do is say, okay, when someone says, don't know how to put it into words, I said, let's try to do it in music. Just write your thoughts down. Now let's get a rhythm to it. And they'll start one way, and through that, we'll hear the problem again. That um, and able to help them. I've helped a family whose housing was in jeopardy. One of my partners do housing and was able to get them a place. Again, I believe in when you come into someone's life and they ask for help, you ought to help them, not make empty promises. Because when you make empty promises, that gun can go off. And I'm talking about that real gun go off. So, each one is different. It's about meeting the needs of that community. And follow up is key for us. Once we come in and you say you need help, we there. We just don't leave that community hanging. And we become a family. And it just pulls the people in.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have some other questions. So I want to open up the floor. Anybody have a question or a statement to make? Would love to hear from you.
Dr. Ann, hi, this is Tomiko. Thank you for coming to this program. You showed me before some of the youth who were behind the bars got together, and then they start singing more like praising the Lord on the kind of, it's not even park, in between side road. And I was wondering how often you are bringing such people, and then how you are organizing, how you are keep going. And can you see other people start coming to your programs?
Yeah, other people do come. Again, is based on music. And sometimes it's based on when I'm just out and I see things. I don't have a problem approaching people and talking to them and developing a relationship. And with our young folks, they don't have the foundation that us seasoned people have. When I grew up, you went to church, you went to Sunday school, everything. Even if the parent didn't go, you went. So we had that foundation to fall back on. This young generation don't know nothing about that. They don't. And I got to be honest, some of the meanest people in the world, they say they going to heaven. And they just as mean to people, very judgmental. And again, our young people have no hope. And there's bitterness in all generations. Let's get real. And our older generation definitely was not going to talk to no therapist or any of that. And the biggest problem is if they want therapy, and I have to keep it honest, they want a therapist that look like us. They're not going to trust any other cultures. And I think putting this program together, we're learning the different cultures. We're learning each other. My prayer is that we come together one day and just have a good time in music, and at the same time developing friendships during that time would be so important, because you always hear negative, this culture is, this is that, and that, and that, and that. And that's not the truth. If you take a group of babies, sit them on the floor, they'll play with each other. They don't see color, they don't see religion, none of that. All they see is a kid, and I want to play. And as adults, that's what we got to reprogram ourselves to be like a child. No judgment or nothing. Let's just play. Let's just work together and help each other, build up each other with no ulterior motive. just because you're one of God's creations, and that's just it. And I found it more powerful developing community partners, because put your guns can't do it all, and put your guns might not be for everybody, but put your guns down introduced you to where you can go get the help you need. It's about helping that person and letting them know that you genuinely care and that we're going to keep you out of harm's way. The church have the power, and that's how, I'm not going to call it religion, got so deep into this thing. And it rocked their church. I want to say the Catholic Church, because when you're in ministry mode, pastors that do counseling, and I learned this years ago. I was taking up mental health first aid in Maryland, and they said that pastors don't have to report anything unless somebody say they're gonna kill themselves, or they done killed themselves, or they done killed somebody or raped somebody. Mm-hmm. If they don't fall in those three categories, we don't have to report nothing. And in the old churches, you had that counseling right there. You had the mother board, you had the deacon board for the guys. We've lost that. We have really lost that.
Yeah, that is a very deep culture too. So what you're saying, the culture that stabilized even communities that were struggling is slowly creeping out, and we're losing that, which was more of an anchor, if you will, at once upon a time. And I hear a lot of people say that, and it's a reality. I'd like to ask you a little bit more about, thank you, Dr. Reverend Dr. Tomiko Duggan. Thank you for your question. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, ask you a little bit about the reentry program. Recidivism is a very serious issue to deal with as well.
How I got into reentry citizens, my first introduction was under the Marion Barry administration. And we had a program was called STEP. And if an inmate had 18 months or less before they were released, our job was to find them a place to stay, 40-hour-a-week job, and that they had a counselor. And that's what we did, and it was very successful. I now serve with Catholic charities. I serve as a mentor to the women who come home from prison. And 2 weeks ago, an organization asked me to go with them. And we did a 2-day retreat with the women in Upper Marlboro Detention Center. No one has ever done that. So they're asking if they can put that in for us to come back again. And when I talk to some of the women inmates, there's one that's being held in Upper Marlboro, and she can't go home because she's homeless. And she's been there 8 months. Some of the young ladies, I asked them, why you in here, are there any programs so when you get out, you'll have a skill? And they were like, no, again, they just given a laptop. And one young lady said, I'm never going to get out of here. I'm never going to get out of here because I can't pass none of the tests. She said she's more audio. She stumbles when she reads. And it's stuff like that. Matter of fact, one that I started mentoring 6 years ago, I'm very proud of her. She built her own clothing and makeup line. And now she do websites. So she's become an entrepreneur. I have another young lady, she's going back to school to get her degree. but she has a supportive family because now they have an understanding what took place, how it took place, what drove her there. Again, being in pastoralship, people will tell you things because there's no threat there. There's no threat there. We got to get back to old school in some areas where we develop real relationships. There's one, how I get to her, not so much with the music. I'm like, okay, well, let me see what you did this week. And if she stuck to the plan that we wrote for that week, I'll take her out to eat. And I'm not talking about McDonald's or nothing. And she said she's never had anybody to do that for her.
See?
She's never had anybody to listen. And even some of the men, it blew me away developing these support groups. How many men suffer with domestic violence? But a lot of them said they wouldn't say nothing because their boys would tease them, so they just kept quiet. So it's a very interesting program. Let's put your guns down. Just call us a buffet. But it's birthed out of I birthed Put Your Guns Down before I opened up our ministry, Kingdom. So now it falls under the umbrella of the church. But I tell them, when we go in them streets, it ain't about church. It's about helping people. You got to do more than just come out, pray for them, give them a meal.
Right.
You got to offer more. So I'd say this walk ain't for everybody. It's really not, because it's not a 9-to-5 job.
Could you tell us a little bit about, you said that about your encounter with gun violence?
My encounter is, I've always been a church girl, always involved in the church. And I'll never forget it. One Friday night, came home, and when I opened the door, my husband had put a gun to my face. And I was able to talk him down from shooting me. And then there was a time beat me so bad that I went to the church, to my leaders, because I am a leader, right? To tell them what was going on. And instead of the men grabbing him, holding on to him, working him through, they kicked him out of the men's ministry. He couldn't go on fishing trips or none of that, nothing with the men no more. So that brought on with me, right? And one day I said, I just can't do it no more. And I walked out. And when he went to trial, the judge said, "Oh, you haven't learned your lesson yet, have you, sir?" And I found out then he had been in jail for domestic violence. He went to prison and appealed his case. And I know it was a private lawyer, and I know it was a pastor friend who paid for this lawyer. He got out. And the state's attorney that was representing me said, "Well, this judge don't like putting people in prison for little things." So I'm saying, oh, my life is little. So if he killed me, the judge would have did it. So that's why I'm adamant when it comes to the judiciary system too, because it can hurt you. I mean, I presented letters he wrote me apologizing, and the pictures of scars on me.
Wow.
So that put fire up under me too. That's why I say I got to do this. Put your guns down and lift your hands up, because I'm a survivor. And it can be done, but you got to have the right person to help you.
Thank you. I want to open up the floor. Anybody else, Ray McCready or someone, like to ask a question or make a comment or statement?
Well, Reverend Oliver, woo! I'm just listening in. I doing my Universal Peace Federation prep work and just trying to keep up with your ministry here and with the program. It's Reverend Ann Coles is sharing a lot from reality, and yeah, I live in a kind of a different space, so I see different things, but I'm just trying to keep up with what's being shared and to understand, what's going on and what because we're all one family in my book under God, and especially here in America. So we got to learn how to work together. We're doing Peace Starts With Me activities out here, trying to build an alliance. So I'm just checking up and listening in. I appreciate the work you're doing with Stop the Violence and what Ann Coles and people like her are doing in the community. And I'm here in Seattle, so we got a lot of problems here. We sure do. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend McCready, for coming on. Dr. Coles, I see, could you give us a little bit more explanation on Voices in the Valley?
That support group is for women that survive domestic violence.
Okay. All right. Is that a program you started, or is a program that
I started being a domestic violence survivor? I started it to
okay.
give them a place, because there's a lot of women that will never leave, but they just want to come and vent. And then what I explained to them is how I came up with the name is most people will walk, don't look down in the valley. They just keep going. But if you look closely, after a while, sometimes some of the most beautiful flowers come out of the valley. And you're that flower. You might be in the valley right now, but just keep on. We're going to work this thing together. We're going to work this thing together. And just watch how your flower blossom.
Wow. That's beautiful. So how long has that program been going on?
It's been going on about 5 years, off and on, off and on. Yes.
And it's here in DC.
Yes. Yes. I do it on Zoom. We haven't done it in a while because nobody has came forth. But yes.
So I want to ask you, how did you get to the Bronx, but you are here in DC?
The Bronx, that's my covering. They kind of watch over my ministry, even though I'm independent. I had to go to a foreign land to get the help that I needed. And so that's how I ended up at the Bronx. But I also have a covering here because if something happened to me, but I believe even as a leader, we need a spiritual covering. So my local covering is Ronald Taylor at Not About Me Ministry. Him and my bishop talk because I'm so far away. Yeah.
I understand. So anybody have any other statements to make, to share? There's a plethora of things that you have shared with us today, Dr. Coles. Do you have any stats of the people who you've helped and just moved on and are doing well?
No, I don't have any stats because it's really like an informal thing. The organizations that pull me in, they have their stats, but me, I don't go that deep. It's just about helping people, as they come, and if we're not able, finding them a place that can give them the help they need.
That's true. Can you tell us a little bit about what was your dissertation on your doctorate?
It was on love.
Wow.
And the different types of love. And I chose to write on agape love. And in that paper, explored what is agape love. And basically, it is unconditional. And how can you have agape love for someone who has hurt you? And I broke it down. It's a process. The first thing is, yeah, you acknowledge this person has hurt you. And how does it affect you if you see that person?
Mhm.
And some said that they want to kill him to this day, that if they saw him, they kill him. And then there were some that said they just didn't know. They just be unbothered.
Mhm.
And then some say it wasn't until getting the word and studying it and having somebody to hold my hand through that painful process.
Mhm.
And through that process, they were able to go back to that person that really hurt them and tell them, I forgive you. And some have developed friendships out of that. So my professor thought it was amazing because I shared some of the things I went through in life, but it didn't turn me bitter. And I mean, I've gone through some stuff. This ain't the platform to share everything that I've gone through. So that's another thing that pushed me because I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. And I tell everybody, you're better than your diagnosis.
That's really true. That
Yeah,
makes
you're
sense.
better than your diagnosis.
Amen. 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 Yeah. So, one of the other things that I think I heard you say, and you mentioned it, but uh, what have you, how have you contributed to those people that you know are victims of trauma?
It depends on their action when I approached them. There have been some that had to take them over to the hospital and they get that 72-hour evaluation.
Mhm.
And then there are some that we will sit down and just talk with, see what's going on, um, and see if there's something that we can do for that person. And if it's dealing with a whole family unit, again, as long as you ain't trying to kill yourself, kill somebody, or rape, we'll go into your home and work with that family as a whole, um, and see what the needs are and see how we can connect them to the services that they need.
Right.
That seems to be the most powerful thing right there. And in the midst of it, we ministering to them the whole time, the word of God, but they don't realize it.
Mhm.
It goes back to that love, that agape love. And it has proven to be successful. We call ourselves unorthodox. We're the unorthodox ministry, um, and have met some great people in this process that no one encouraged them, so they just gave up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Encouragement is key. It's key. Relationship is key. I can remember one Sunday um, when I had a building over there at 61st and Dix, and this young lady was sitting at the front door, and I spoke to her and everything, and she was just crying and everything, and I had one of my elders to go with me. I actually brought her to my house and let her shower and everything, and fixed her breakfast. And when I go over there to this day, when I go over in that neighborhood, she's like, thank you. I got myself together. Thank you.
Amazing.
But you have to ask yourself, do you really want to go that deep into it? Because if you go deep into it like that, there are risks. There are. There are risks. My son, um, he's prepared because he knows the community work I do. If something happened to me, he's prepared. And
Right.
then I have people that surround him because he worry about me when I get them calls sometimes 2, 3 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
and I'm jumping out there. But I'm not going to take my son out there like that. So yeah, it's a lot to it.
Yeah, it seems that way. And that's what we discovered through this programs. Some people are more strong at the recidivism piece, some people more trauma piece, some domestic violence piece. But also, you didn't share too much about the young people in gangs and a
Um,
little bit about that school, the education that you said you categorized as
the
failing our young people.
let's go with the schools, and how I discovered so much. I volunteered with an organization, and we were in Arundel County, and we were sitting observing, and we would have a meeting, every time we went there, and we asked the teachers, why didn't you, there was a couple of students that was just acting up, being disruptive, and the teacher did nothing. So we asked the teacher why, and when the teacher said that if we send the kids out, we can lose our jobs because they feel we can't handle them. She said this is how the discipline, the principals speak to the teacher first. The second time, they'll put them on a week suspension.
Wow.
And the third time, they get fired. Because you got to remember, our school system is about money. I've had some parents to come and say, how can they pass my child and they're D? And it was shared in the meeting that if they hold back a kid, they lose money. They don't get money for holding a kid back. So that's why they pass them on. But what happens, it hurts the kids, especially, let's say your child in college, right? Graduated from college, and they got mostly C's, and in one of their classes they got a D. And when they transferred to that college, the college wouldn't give them the credit for their class, said a D is not, we can't accept a D.
Right.
But yet they accept a D. In elementary school, that's where your foundation begins with your social skills. If we can't sit and play with each other, how are we going to develop social skills? And the teacher said that's a problem there, because they can't get us so close to the kids either. When we were in school, the teacher would talk to us, and got us in check, but it's not. And there are gangs in our schools, especially out here in Maryland. You got the M13s, and they got some little sign like that let me know that they got something going on there. Some other groups, but and the principal know. So, matter of fact, we're working on a program now where one of the charter schools in DC would like us to come in and do an after-school program with the student and the parent. The principal said there, as a school, there's certain things that we can't do, but as an after-school program, we can do it. And what we suggested to them is get a community center. That way, you don't have to worry about crossing the line when it comes to the school. And the teachers would still be involved, but it's off the school premises. Because that principal C what's happening. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, one of the kids was shot. All because of they couldn't communicate with each other. So they got to beefing with each other. And to this day, nobody know what the beef is. So both parents lost. You have one got to bury the child, and you got the other, the child is in prison.
So typical.
That's why I say we got to get involved. Because it's real. It's real.
I want to thank you. Thank you for your heart for number one. And thank you for coming on, and thank you for being so brave, and thank you for God working through you. Especially sometimes it is advantage to have gone through what some of the people that you're trying to help with are going through, so they can relate to you more. And I want to thank you again, just that you made it here. We want to thank God that He spared you. And you look great, being a total car accident, but you still came on. And I like what you said. You said, no, I'm not going to be defeated by Satan. This is something that is important, and I'm going to do it. So we're grateful. We're really, thank you so much for coming on. You did a great job. And
Thank you.
most importantly, this is what I mean. There's such rich content, but mostly a rich heart and a rich determination of people like yourself and yourself, who's out there making the difference. Even when you say the drug boys are they're your protectors, and I believe they enjoy that. This is part of the family that was probably missing. I can protect mama if I can do anything. This is what I hope for. This is what was not there for me. And so you stood in as a surrogate mom for them. And they responded. They didn't respond in cussing, but they responded in helping, something that then they have not done in previous history, in their lifetime, because of the extenuating circumstances, because of the communities they grow up in, and because of something you said. There's a generation after generation, a generation previous generations of some kids growing up in families that are used to screaming, hollering, calling and not. So that cycle has to be. It can be broken. And so, on that note, I'd like to give you the last word. We're closing, and please share what you would love to share with us as we close.
In closing, I would say, first thing is, how deep do you want to go into community work? I have to ask that question. The other thing is, don't take it home with you. And I would suggest that you have a therapist for you, because that's a lot to take on when doing something like that. And the third thing, know what your trigger is. When you know what your trigger is, you won't walk into it. But don't be selfish not to pass it on to somebody else so that person could get the help they need. If you do that, love and peace will come into this country and around the world, period. Yeah. If you do them three things, I guarantee you love and peace will come.
I agree. Yeah. Thank you so much for the words of incredible wisdom. And there's another word that next time you come on, we can talk about the trigger. We can talk about that trigger. Yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Coles, for coming on. And we greatly appreciate you and appreciate what you shared with us. And I know that there's so many people out there who didn't have hope, that through you, they gained new hope. God bless you. And I want to thank everyone. Dr. Tomiko Duggan, thank you so much for suggesting her. Dr. Coles for coming on. Ray and my Reverend Franklin came on a little late, but usually he has excellent comments and to make, but he came on a little late. But we want to thank you for coming on, and all the others and those out there in the out there in the space. It's being recorded in YouTube, and people watch from there sometimes as well. Thank you very much. We will see you next week, our program next week. But God bless you, and we'll see you again.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you, Dr. Ann. Thank you, Reverend Oliver.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh,
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Reverend
Bye.
Oliver.
Okay.
God bless you.
God bless you, Ray.
See you later.
That was awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Dr. Coles, magnificent. God bless you.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Reverend Oliver.